Okay, as we take a look like images like this, older images that people want to retouch, one of the things that we want to do is look at the contrast, and we look at the color cast. Now, most people can look at this and say, "Hey, there's a red color cast." Well, I say don't look at it to determine. Look at values that are in the image to determine if there's a color cast. And we all know that if we have red, green, and blue, or anywhere there's gray, I should say, in the world, there should be three equal values of red, green, and blue. So every image should have some gray area. You want to look for shadows and shading. And in this case, there's some gray in the background in the pole. And so what you usually do here is you just take your color sampler tool, and what you do is you come up here and you click in a medium, try a medium gray area. I try not to get too light, but as you can see here, in this case, there is just too much red in this image. Okay, now there's multiple ways to correct this, as my dog's in the background are wanting to bark. Um, so you have these options down here that allow you to change. Now, for example, you could use the color balance command. The color balance will allow you to adjust it. And so if you have too much red, what you do is you add the opposite. Okay, and then what you want to do is you definitely want to keep the info panel open so you can see what the three equal values are going to equal to. So, because you want to get less red and more green and blue. So as you do that, see how the values go up? And in this case, I'm going to increase the green. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get that to be almost equal. So there's, again, different ways of doing it. So if we come down here and work with, for example, levels. Okay, levels is always my go-to to any adjustment. First of all, the histogram tells me if there's a contrast issue, which there is. So what's saying is the left side, where this black slider is supposed to be very total black, but there's no pixels in the image, that's black. And over here to the right, where the white is supposed to be, there's no pixels there. So that tells me I'm lacking contrast. Whenever you have no pixels on the left or no pixels on the right, your image is lacking contrast. So the first thing we want to do is we want to correct the color cast. In the middle gray eyedropper, and what we do is we click up here and we sample that gray area. If you click in a different area, it will sometimes add a different color cast to it. Okay, so what you want to do is click, and then of course you can always look at the info palette. I think I just closed it, so what I want to do here is open this up. See, it's almost 3. It's a little bit off here and there, but we can also tweak it if we need to. Okay, and this is where then next I always take the color cast first, and then I adjust for the contrast. Okay, and so I can bring the sliders in for that purpose, to go in and determine where the dark black is and where the white is. And so all of a sudden we went from there to this. Now that's also where you can go in and you can sample the dark point and you can sample the lightest point. So you would have to know where the lightest point is in the image and where the darkest point. For example, white. You got white shirt, you got white socks, so I can actually go down here and I can click on the white. Now you can see it might throw in a color cast, and so you're gonna have to watch out with the eyedropper. And if I choose the wrong black, see, this goes too much, in that sense. So a lot of times though, those eyedroppers do come in play. Now, this is where you can change. Maybe you lessen it a little bit and so forth. But the idea is to get used to it and just experiment with the levels command and some of the